Hi there, my name is Sam from Verse.com and welcome to a new comparison video between the OnePlus 8 Pro and the Oppo Find X2 Pro. We are comparing both phones in terms of display, performance, camera, design and battery. Stay tuned and find out which phone is in our opinion the better phone. If you'd like to see more videos like this, feel free to subscribe and hit the notification bell. Let's start straight away with our review. Let the facts speak. Display. The Find X2 Pro has a 6.7-inch display with a 1440p resolution. It is fitted with an OLED screen which does a fantastic job. The 6.7-inch display therefore measures 17 cm diagonally with a pixel density of 513 ppi. The Find X2 Pro has the 2020 must-have feature of an impressive 120Hz refresh rate, even with the highest resolution. The 8 Pro has a 6.78-inch display with a 1440p resolution. It uses a very bright OLED screen which creates very accurate colors. The 6.78-inch display therefore measures 17.2 cm diagonally with a pixel density of 513 ppi. Whether a picture looks fluid or not depends on the refresh rate. And a feature that every flagship got to have in 2020 is a high refresh rate. The OnePlus 8 Pro has a high 120Hz. By comparing both displays, we couldn't find a big difference. Both have almost the exact same specs. The OnePlus display is slightly bigger, but that isn't really noticeable. So we decided to call it a draw, because we think to call a winner it must be clearer than this. Therefore, both devices get a point in this category. Performance. The Oppo Find X2 Pro had the Qualcomm Snapdragon 865 chip with 1x 2.84 GHz and 3x 2.42 GHz and 4x 1.8 GHz for solid performance. The Find X2 Pro has 12GB RAM with 512GB internal storage capacity. The storage capacity unfortunately cannot be expanded. This version of the OnePlus 8 Pro has 256GB internal storage capacity. It is equipped with a super-fast Qualcomm Snapdragon 865 chip with 1x 2.84 GHz and 3x 2.42 GHz and 4x 1.8 GHz and has 12GB RAM. There's also an 8GB RAM model with an internal storage capacity of 128GB available. The storage capacity unfortunately cannot be expanded. Both phones have the Snapdragon 865 built in. The OnePlus 8 Pro was one of the strongest phones we tested so far. Can Oppo's phone beat the OnePlus? Let's take them into the Antutu benchmark test to find out which phone is the stronger phone. The tests are divided into three phases. A performance test of the RAM, a test of how the device is handling two-dimensional graphics, and an endurance test of how the device is handling 3D graphics. The Oppo is officially now the strongest phone that we tested. It came in stronger than the OnePlus 8 Pro. Congrats to Oppo. Their Find X2 Pro takes home the performance point. If you'd like to see the more detailed performance test, click here. Camera. The Find X2 Pro has three main cameras: a 48MP wide angle, a 48MP ultra wide angle, and a 13MP telephoto camera. The front camera's resolution is 32MP and it is built into the hole punch notch in the upper left corner of the screen. The Oppo Find X2 Pro records 4K videos at a maximum of 60 frames. And of course, it has image stabilization for video. The 8 Pro has four main cameras: the primary and ultra-wide camera with 48MP, a telephoto camera with 8MP, and a color filter lens camera with 5MP. You can find the front camera in the upper left corner of the screen in the so-called hole punch notch. Its resolution is 16MP. The OnePlus 8 Pro records 4K videos at a maximum of 60 frames per second. It also has image stabilization for video. Both phones have good camera systems, but which one is actually the better system? Let's take it to our daytime camera test and let's find out which one does a better job. Both phones took really sharp pictures and the color rendering was also good. But the OnePlus pictures were just a little better than Oppo's. For example, the sharpness of the 8 Pro was better. The OnePlus 8 Pro has a 3-fold optical and a 30-fold digital zoom feature. The Find X2 Pro on the other hand has a 5-fold optical and a 60-fold digital zoom. The question is if you really need a 60-fold digital zoom feature. It is fun to play around with, but the outcome isn't really worth it. The Oppo Find X2 Pro, thanks to a resolution of 4K, produces top quality videos. Full HD mode offers 240 frames per second, which records really great slow motion videos. The 8 Pro, thanks to a resolution of 4K, also produces first class videos. With 480 frames per second in 720p mode and 240 frames per second in Full HD mode, your slow motion videos are more than a go. In conclusion, both smartphones feature excellent camera systems. Overall, the 8 Pro's cameras were more satisfying at this point, therefore goes to the OnePlus 8 Pro. Design. The Oppo Find X2 Pro that we tested in this comparison uses a very elegant vegan leather finish. The triple camera system is well positioned on the upper left corner on the back of the phone. Unfortunately, the bump sticks out a lot, so it won't lie flat on a table. It will definitely wobble a bit. The smartphone weighs 200 grams. It is roughly 16.5 cm long, 7.44 cm wide and 0.95 cm deep. It has a USB-C connector. The IP68 rating makes it also water and dust resistant. The Find X2 Pro uses face recognition technology and a fingerprint scanner which is built into the screen to unlock the phone. Both technologies work great. There's also a ceramic version available, which is slightly heavier and a tiny bit thinner. Our concern is that the vegan leather might change color over time. The OnePlus 8 Pro has a clean design with a matte finish. The quad camera system is well positioned on the upper center on the back of the phone. The camera bump is pretty big and sticks out a lot. That is something we don't really like. The smartphone weighs 199 grams, it's roughly 16.53 cm long, 7.44 cm wide and 0.85 cm deep. It has a USB-C connector and thanks to an IP68 rating, it is finally water and dust resistant, which previous models weren't. The 8 Pro uses face recognition technology and a fingerprint scanner which is built into the screen to unlock the phone. The face recognition technology works perfect at daylight and also good in a weak light environment. Both phones have camera bumps that unnecessarily stick out of the back of the phone, which is in our opinion still nothing that you want to see in a high-end phone. But we think that the vegan leather finish on the Find X2 Pro has a more grown-up and therefore more elegant feel to it when compared to the OnePlus 8 Pro. That is why we give this point in this category to the Find X2 Pro. Let us know in the comments below what you think. Which phone is in your opinion the better looking phone? The 8 Pro or the Find X2 Pro? We'd love to hear your opinion. Battery. The OnePlus 8 Pro, when fully charged, has 4510 mAh. On the other hand, the Oppo, when fully charged, has 4260 mAh. In terms of capacity, the OnePlus battery is slightly bigger. So does it help the phone to last longer? That is what we are going to find out in our day-to-day usage test. The OnePlus 8 Pro has a slightly bigger battery, and it also lasts slightly longer than its rival. Therefore, this point goes to the OnePlus 8 Pro. But as always though, both phones got through a whole day of normal usage. It always depends on the way you use your phone and the settings you use it in. Conclusion. I personally did not know much about Oppo before we got our hands on this device. I gotta say, I was actually impressed. But before we come to the end of the video, let's go through all the categories to find out who the winner is in this comparison. The first point went to both phones, because there wasn't a big difference between these two displays. The second points got the Oppo Find X2 Pro, which is impressive because the OnePlus 8 Pro was in terms of performance the strongest phones we tested so far. The OnePlus took home the point for the best camera system. The pictures were just sharper than its competitor. The design point won the X2 Pro, because we really like the design, especially the vegan leather optic. In terms of battery life, the X2 Pro fell behind the OnePlus. Therefore, the last point went to the 8 Pro. So altogether, the OnePlus 8 Pro and the Oppo Find X2 Pro each scored 3 points. That is why we have to call it a draw on this comparison. Naturally, we review more than these 5 categories covered here. If you'd like to see the full comparison, follow the link to our website. You can compare up to 7 different smartphones at versus.com. But before you do that, please post your comments and let us know which phone you think ranks first. If you liked our video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Take care and see you soon.